China is in focus today as its leaders are set to hold an annual two-sessions meeting about a bazooka-like, as they call it, or a very big economic stimulus and whether it would be appropriate or not. According to analysts, the stimulus wouldn't be as large as the country saw in 2008. That was a $586 billion plan, but still very significant. The country's gross domestic product grew by 5.2% in 2023, but the overall recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic was slower than many had expected. A serious slump in its massive real estate market, but also falling global demand for Chinese exports have contributed to low levels of consumer and business sentiment, but also a downturn in its domestic demand, which since the pandemic has really remained subdued. In 2008, during the financial crisis, China unleashed a massive stimulus package, as we said, to sustain growth with greater demand, making the economic rebound, but drawing significant criticisms as it resulted in a surge in local government debt. For more of this now, Danny Hewson joins us now from Huddersfield in England. She is the head of financial analysis at AJ Bell. Thank you for being with us, Danny. Right, so how does the stimulus in China compare to the 2008 stimulus? But most importantly, is it really needed right now and why?
I think most external viewers would say that it is really needed in China at the moment. We've seen economic growth stumble significantly, nowhere near the double digits that many of us got used to, looking for 5% this year, which clearly is way below where China used to come in as really one of the world's leading engines of the economy. In terms of the stimulus this time, I think most people do not expect that we will get that bazooka, we will get that rocket to really propel growth. Instead, I think President Xi Jinping is expected to maintain things, to say that he is confident that the economy will pick up. And in order to do that, he thinks that he's on the right track.
Interesting. And I do want to ask you, why is the Chinese economy in this situation? I mean, after the pandemic finished, it really is fair to say that its internal demand has remained subdued. Why? Because we really have seen a rebound in other economies. For example, in the US, households had more savings at the end of the pandemic, more savings that they obviously wanted to use. A different situation in Europe, but still the rebound was there. So what's happened in China then?
I think what you've got is a situation where clearly the issues following the pandemic in terms of shipping, in terms of demand, yeah, the United States has remained pretty solid, but also it has turned away in many cases from Chinese products. Obviously, there's been an awful lot of attention focused on potential trade disputes, which could just get worse if Donald Trump goes back into the White House. But for China, really, the property sector has been an absolute fly in the ointment of its recovery. Massive amounts of debt, which means that where China in the past might have been able to spend on huge infrastructure projects, a lot of local councils just don't have the money to do that, which of course means that then people are struggling to find really well-paid employment. And there are still huge concerns about the properties that they have spent money on, which they can't currently live in. So a lot of moving parts with the Chinese economy at the moment, a lot of potential moves within the ruling parties to try and really focus on the next generation of technologies, things, eco-friendly technologies, huge infrastructure technologies like semiconductors. And they think those will be the things that will really propel growth in the future.